Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are actually looking under the hood of something absolutely incredible, the Elite Physics Script Engine. We're going to deconstruct exactly how top-tier educational content is engineered. Why? To literally force your brain to learn, retain, and absolutely dominate the Cambridge IGCSE 0625 physics exam. We've got a ton of high-impact strategies to get through, so let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. Think about this sentence for a second. Water pressure gets bigger down deep, right? That right there, 0 marks. It's an entirely average sentence. But contrast that with this one. Fluid pressure increases proportionally with depth and density, calculated as P equals rho GH. Boom. That is a flawless A-grade Cambridge sentence. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step mechanics of how to transform your answers from that weak first example into that powerhouse second one, every single time. So this brings us to a really crucial question. Why does ordinary physics revision just fail? You know the drill, right? You read the textbook, you highlight all the formulas, you spend hours grinding away, but then you sit down for the actual exam and the marks just mysteriously vanish. It's beyond frustrating. But why does it happen? Well, it happens because you're studying like a student, not an examiner. You're missing their perspective. You're literally bleeding marks on concepts you actually understand, all because of how you're formatting your thoughts. So, the crucial point here is that you need a new system, a totally new blueprint. Enter the high-mark answer framework. This is specifically engineered for the Cambridge 0625 syllabus. It's the ultimate fix. It completely takes the guesswork out of writing your answers and essentially forces you to build responses that perfectly align with exactly what the person grading your paper is practically begging to see. Let's break down how this builds into our first quick win. It's a strict 4-step process. Step 1, you state the core concept. Step 2, you back it up with evidence or data. Step 3, you bring in logical, scientific reasoning to connect those two things. And finally, step 4, and honestly, this is the absolute most important part, you wrap the whole thing in precise examiner wording. This framework takes all those scattered, panicked thoughts you get in the exam room and morphs them into this undeniable, structured logic that examiners just love to reward. Now, you might be wondering why the number 4. Well, 4 seconds is the exact biological window we have before your brain naturally starts to wander off. In the Elite Script Engine we're deconstructing today, this represents the visual pattern interrupt rule. It's absolutely essential for maintaining hyper-retention. To actually pull off that 4-second rule, we tap into a very specific arsenal of visual tools. We use B-roll or split screens to rapidly contrast ideas. We throw in kinetic typography to literally punch the words straight into your memory. We use red pen annotations to yank your eye exactly where it needs to be, zoom and crop punch-ins to rapidly escalate focus, and even timer overlays to induce a little bit of that exam room urgency. You see, these aren't just fancy editing tricks. They're highly calculated psychological triggers designed to keep your brain 100% engaged. And that actually brings us to another super powerful psychological trigger used in script engineering, the open loop. Think about it like this. In just a second, I'm going to show you a hidden examiner clue that completely flips a physics answer upside down. But if you click away now, you are going to miss the one specific framework tweak that makes this hidden clue painfully obvious. So you definitely want to stick around because your entire grade pretty much hinges on what we're about to cover. And this brilliantly illustrates how we apply the framework. To understand how that examiner clue works, we really need to test our framework against a core physics concept, atmospheric pressure. Check out the definition. It's the force per unit area exerted against a surface by the weight of the air above that surface. Now, I want you to mentally lock in that specific phrasing, force per unit area. We are going to need it in just a second. All right, time for a quick interactive challenge. I want you to spot the error here. Picture that classic physics experiment, right? A metal can is heated up, sealed tight, then rapidly cooled down, and suddenly it violently crushes inward. I want you to pause and actually predict how a typical student might incorrectly explain this. What's the trap they're almost definitely going to fall into? Take a quick second to really think about it. Okay, let's see if you nailed it. On one side, we've got our totally flawed student answer. The can crushes because the air sucks it in. I mean, we've all seen or maybe even written answers exactly like this. But in Cambridge physics, the word sucks is absolutely not a recognized scientific mechanism. Now, compare that to our top band, fully improved answer. Unbalanced atmospheric pressure exerts a greater external force per unit area, causing deformation. Do you see the night and day difference there? This improved version uses our framework flawlessly. It identifies the exact scientific reasoning that the first answer completely totally missed. Let's play the role of the strict examiner for a minute here. To hit that coveted top mark band, you're evaluated on 3 super precise metrics. For variables, you can't just be vague. You absolutely have to state the mathematical relationship explicitly, like P equals rho GH. For terminology, you've got to ditch those everyday words like sucks or pushes and use the exact phrase force per unit area. And finally, for mechanics, you must explicitly identify the unbalanced forces at play. If you ignore even one of these metrics, you instantly drop right out of the top band. No exceptions. And honestly, that is exactly why we're constantly talking about the 0625 syllabus. Mastering Cambridge 0625 isn't just about knowing the laws of physics. It's about knowing how to play the game. It is a massive strategic exercise in exam psychology. You literally have to know the precise wording the examiners are legally bound by their mark scheme to look for. But wait, here is the massive unresolved problem that trips up even the smartest, most prepared students. Knowing the physics flawlessly, it simply isn't enough if you misread the command word. Think about it. If the question commands you to evaluate something and you just describe it, your totally perfect knowledge of atmospheric pressure earns you exactly 0 marks. Basically, everything we just went over is utterly useless if you don't understand the specific command words that dictate the mark scheme. To make sure you don't fall into that exact trap, the script engine uses something called a binge loop session time expander. This specific visual layout is engineered to seamlessly push you to the exact information you desperately need next. So we queue up the mandatory next explainer on command words, place it right next to a subscribe button, throw in some crystal clear call to action text, and tie the whole shebang together with a giant overlaid progress arrow pointing you exactly where your focus needs to go. And to perfectly accompany that visual layout, there is a very specific 20-second end screen script. It goes exactly like this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Now, that isn't just some friendly sign-off. It is a meticulously calculated directive to keep you right there in the learning loop, ensuring you never miss the strategies that actually secure those top grades. Which brings us to our final thought for today. We've completely transformed a single sentence in this session. But are you ready to transform an entire paragraph in the next explainer? Understanding the framework we just covered is a great step 1, but mastering those Cambridge command words, that is the mandatory, urgent next step to truly conquering your exams. You really cannot afford to miss it. Thanks so much for joining me on the explainer today, and I'll catch you in the next one.